Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance, and today is shoulder day. It is the last shoulder workout of this current cycle where I'm doing the behind the neck presses. I'm going to try to add a little bit more, go over the 100-pound mark this week. So if you like the type of content I've been putting out, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with any questions you might have on what I'm doing or perhaps for your own training. The big focus with this one today is going to be ensuring I keep everything nice and squared up, and I'm going to try to stay as strict as possible throughout the movement. I'm going to try to get a little less actual leg movement going into it. All right, so here we go into the warm-up. Always start nice empty bar after general warm-up. So here, I kind of grab it the exact same way I do with if I was to do a squat, but a little bit wider just so that my forearms can be a little more perpendicular to the floor. I keep everything straight up and down and then up overhead. All right, first set, 100 pounds, so 25s plus a little cookie on the end. The reason I put the 2.5 on the outside like this is more just for me afterwards to kind of check to see how imbalanced I was without having to check footage. So here we go, aim for 6 to 8. So on the second set, I'm going to be going up by 2.5 pounds. You might be wondering, but the smallest weight plate is 2.5 pounds, that's already on there. How are you going to do that? There's something called fraction plates. So what these allow you to do is go up by smaller increments. It's a great way to push it so that you're constantly improving. Think about it, if you're going up by 5 pounds on an exercise and you're doing 100 pounds, for example, I've got 100 pounds on the bar right now. If I go up by 5 pounds, that's a 5% increase. That might be a little bit too much, and how I'm feeling right now, I know that's going to be a little too much. So by going up by 2.5 total pounds, a 2.5% increase, that's much more manageable. Think about it this way. You want to be applying the Japanese Kaizen principle. I'll do a further video on this one now that it's on my mind. And the whole process or principle behind that is constant and never-ending improvement. So by adding as little as a 1/4 pound or a 1/2 pound to an exercise week over week, if you add a 1/2 pound to your bench press every week throughout the year, that's 26 pounds that you've added on. If you bench press 225 and you just added 26 pounds, you just increase your bench press by over 10% throughout the year. Especially if that's been your 1RM, increasing your 1RM becomes harder and harder the stronger that you get. If you're a 500-pound bench presser and you add 26 pounds, you're now doing 526 pounds. So that's a big improvement, and that can be the difference between training and getting stagnated and plateauing and constantly improving and breaking your own personal and potentially provincial, state, or world records. All right, so the last set, going 105 pounds. So overall, a 5% increase week over week. I will take that, especially on this lift. Here we go. Yeah, I cheated hard there. All right, so here we go with the Arnold presses again. I've got 35-pound dumbbells. My shoulders are a little worked, we'll just put it that way, from the behind the neck presses. Those went well, added 5% week over week. The last rep, oh boy, was that ever a big cheat. There's no sugarcoating that. That was a pretty flagrant cheat right there. But hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So with these, big focus when I'm doing Arnold presses is getting nice and deep into it, but also as you're doing the concentric, not trying to necessarily throw the weight up as fast as you necessarily can with these. Yes, you still want a powerful concentric, but you're trying to get it so that you actually feel the deltoid work as you're rotating. As you go from fully internally rotated to as you externally rotate and press overhead, you want it so that you feel the deltoid working throughout that full range. And the same when you're coming down. A lot of people, they kind of just quickly externally rotate and then press up. You're missing so much of the actual benefits of the movement if you just quickly just snap the arms out and press overhead. By pressing as you're also externally rotating, you're getting more deltoid work overall, plus you're getting those smaller synergist muscles of the rotator cuff to work a little bit more as well. Cumulatively, you're helping to protect your shoulder health and improve the overall strength of the shoulders. So as I was just saying previously, the big focus each time I come down is internally rotate and then on the way up, externally rotate, turning the hands and the palms so that they go at the bottom facing me and at the top facing away. And I'm doing this continuously through each rep. Instead of trying to rush it at the beginning or at the end of a rep, I'm getting it so that it's kind of progressive throughout each rep. And as the set is going on here, you can see just the look on my face. Things are getting a little more interesting by the time this set ends. And the third set, things were, I need to take an extra 45 seconds rest before starting it because my shoulders would not have been working so well. But each rep, just focusing on trying to make it a carbon copy of the first rep. The closer I am to repeating the same rep, the better the set is going to be. You want it to basically be, you're just repeating a good rep over and over and over again. Okay, so I still have that lateral raise complex where I'm doing 15 lateral raises out to the side, then I bend over and I do 15 for the rear delt. So I'm focusing here on medial and rear deltoid as I'm doing these. The big thing here is making it so that I'm feeling the work in the deltoid itself. A lot of people when they're doing these, they try to throw the weight up and the traps start to overwork. They start to use the traps and they're starting to flail around. I'm focusing on staying as strict as I can, get the arms up, focusing on trying to keep the elbows at the same level as my wrist. This will help to ensure that my deltoid is doing more work and I'm not rotating and getting other things to do more of the work. And here with the seated lateral raises, by having my back up against the bench here, I can't swing when I'm doing these. And yes, I have a bend in my elbow. That bend in the elbow is there so that I can actually get it so that the deltoid is doing the work and I'm not trying to muscle it up with kind of twisting my arm to get the traps and the triceps to kind of kick in. And here I'm just focusing each time, initiating as much as possible with my deltoids. It really cooks the medial delt. And then bend over, take a deep breath, and then start the bent over lateral raises. You'll notice I come up at a slight angle here. That's just, I notice for me personally, that gives me the best feel in the rear delt. I'm not trying to come up anywhere past parallel because then I start to get into scapular retraction and rhomboid work. Here, I'm just focusing on trying to get the rear delt to carry the load. All right, so last thing today, band and pull apart. So I'm using the black band. It's kind of like the intermediary between the rogue blue and red bands. I'm aiming to get 25 to 30 reps with this. The big thing with these is you got to be actually pulling apart explosively with some violence. That way you're not fatiguing early in the set, and this way as well you're getting all those fast twitch fibers to really start to fire in the beginning, and then by the end when everything's fatiguing, you fatigued all the muscle fibers there. Pull aparts are great for kind of building up that strength in the upper back that pulls your scapula, your shoulder blades back and into the proper position. A lot of people, if you take a look at their backs, they're kind of all rounded forward. This helps to strengthen things up because all those muscles back there get overly stretched day to day. So this brings them back into more of a natural and better position for them and helps overall again with shoulder health. All right, so that's everything for today's workout. My post-workout is going to be the usual. 1 scoop of HTB Labs grass-fed whey, a half scoop of the greens and reds whole food mix, as well as 5 grams creatine monohydrate. If you want to get 10% off an order from HTB Labs, go to the link in the description below, htblab.com, and use code RISLING10, that's RISLING 10 at checkout to get 10% off. Great thing about HTB Labs, it's accessible and excellent value for your dollar. And if you're an athlete, it's informed choice certified to be banned substance free. So great things for athletes to also utilize. Later this week, I'm going to have a video up doing a recap and a little more of a race analysis of some of the races from the Athletics Canada Canadian National Track and Field Championships that happened this past weekend. If you like this type of content and some of the other content that I put out, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with any questions you may have. Now, go give yourself a good little challenging shoulder workout. Coach Tony, Risling Podium Performance. Embrace your potential.